Chapter 41. Bloody Ferrara, 13. Doomsday Spiritual Artifact Master Concentric Circles Battle Royale Action. Concentric Circles. 1 month later, the 420th round of qualifiers came to an end, and from this point on, the throne race would no longer accept new registrations. The ultimate champion would emerge from the 200 teams that had made it through to the finals. From the abandoned mine 200 kilometers away from Ferrara, the rumbling sounds continued to echo. Xu Xing had a red headband tied to his forehead, with the words, "Must win," boldly written on it, flapping in the wind. He wore a thick hoodie and took brisk steps with his short legs. At one moment, he sprinted to the left, sharp ice spikes falling behind him, pinning the crowded zombies like bullets in a circle. Then, he extended his arms and ran to the right, using a blizzard in tandem with the mechanical arm of a transport vehicle to sweep the frozen zombies into iron cages. The red band fluttered behind his head, giving him a somewhat peerless master's demeanor. In less than 20 minutes, Xu Xing completed a sea-level mission all by himself. Song Ke stood on a high platform, watching from afar. This scene had become the norm for almost a month. Xu Xing had undergone Zhuang Qingyan's devilish training, starting from tears and sobbing, often hiccuping while fighting zombies, and frequently needing her help to clean up afterward. But now, he had made rapid progress. Not only could he single-handedly take down dozens of zombies, but he also maintained cleanliness, remembering to blow the area clean and tidying up the battlefield as a matter of course. Song Ke's thoughts wandered, and she couldn't help but think of Aming's favorite lines from that classic palace intrigue drama of the old civilization. The old Shaoxing was already dead. Now, standing before them was Niu Hulu. No, it was the mecha Tyrannosaurus Shaoxing. "You're really amazing," Song Ke murmured. "It's still a long way to go," Zhuang Qingyan replied calmly. "No, I mean you're really amazing." Being able to transform Xu Xing from a slacker who only wanted to lie down every day into the current edgy teenager was entirely Zhuang Qingyan's achievement. Zhuang Qingyan's lips curved into a faint smile, acknowledging Song Ke's praise. "Since he wants to follow you, he can't hold you back." The commotion in front gradually subsided, and Xu Xing ran over, his eyes sparkling. "Sister, am I amazing?" "Amazing," Song Ke praised sincerely, giving him 2 thumbs up. Xu Xing scratched his chin, smiling brightly like the sun. During this period, they mainly accepted C-level missions, with a small number of B-level missions completed together by Song Ke and Xu Xing. Therefore, their points were increasing steadily, although not very fast. Even though the rankings were hidden, V587 had actually entered the top 10 in the Ferrara points standings. The first place was still held by 3 grandsons and 1 grandfather, their points skyrocketing, already surpassing 10,000. "It's about time. Let's pack up and head back to Ferrara," Zhuang Qingyan said. The main competition of the throne race was about to begin, and it was time to go back and prepare. "What is this?" The day before the competition, during the player registration, Song Ke and Xu Xing each received a wristwatch-like tracking device. "This is the new tracking device introduced by the competition organizers," the AI in front of them explained meticulously. "It's used in conjunction with a small unmanned camera that follows each player one-on-one throughout the race, capturing every exciting moment." "Isn't this just an electronic ankle monitor?" Xu Xing muttered softly. The synthesized voice of the AI remained calm and unaffected. "I apologize for any inconvenience. I can confirm that due to perspective issues during the previous qualifiers, there was a severe broadcasting incident that resulted in complaints from viewers. We've learned from that experience and have upgraded our filming methods to ensure a comprehensive, multi-angle, immersive experience, with no blind spots. In addition, each player has their own private live broadcast room that viewers can unlock and watch for a fee." Qualifiers, broadcasting incident, could it have been because of her? Song Ke nervously rubbed her ear. Due to the unique nature of the main competition venue, there were no on-site seats, and the audience could only watch through terminals. Tickets for the competition had been sold at exorbitant prices, and the number of reservations for popular Superhumans live broadcast rooms had surpassed several 100,000, far exceeding the peak of any previous concert, setting a new historical record. Please draw lots. The AI swiped a panel, and suddenly, a brilliant galaxy appeared before Song Kei's eyes. Hundreds of sparkling stars slowly flowed within, emitting a gentle glow. The AI reminded her methodically, the size of the number will determine the team's order of appearance. Song Kei casually picked a star, and a number appeared on it, 161. Congratulations, you've drawn number 161, starting from the northwest corner at 2020. With a total of 200 teams, they started at staggered times, and the earlier the better, as it allowed teams to familiarize themselves with the terrain in advance and even set ambushes to take advantage of others. Unfortunately, Song Kei and Xu Xing not only had a late draw but also a terrible starting point. The northwest corner was the most desolate starting point, requiring them to cross the Mirror Lake in the central area to reach the endpoint located at the eastern mountaintop. It seemed like a definite disadvantage. Song Kei was shocked by her own choice, thinking she should have let Xu Xing draw instead. But Xu Xing was surprisingly happy, saying, "Great. It's not the last number." Song Kei patiently explained, the higher the number, the later you start. It's not good. I should have let you draw. Xu Xing blinked his eyes, but I've never won anything in my life, not even a bag of chips. If I had drawn, it would probably have been number 199. Song Kei sighed, all right. Well, in that case, 161 isn't so bad. It's actually quite good. After returning to the hotel, their number 161 drew merciless laughter from Zhuang Qingyan. Despite Zhuang Qingyan's early lessons, when it came to the actual competition, they could only rely on themselves. Song Kei wore Wu Yuru's space necklace and concealed various spiritual weapons in her oversized coat. Her primary weapon was still the dual swords she had been using recently. Before leaving, Song Kei looked at Zhuang Qingyan and asked, "Is there anything else you want to tell me?" Just like that day in Hua City, Zhuang Qingyan lazily leaned on his wheelchair and waved at her, his magnetic voice seductive and captivating, "Come back early." Song Kei nodded earnestly, all right. On the night of the competition, at Mirror Lake, at exactly 2000, all the floating screens in the Ferrara City area simultaneously projected the throne race, and the official live broadcast room began on time. Good evening, dear viewers. The exciting moment has finally arrived. Welcome to the live broadcast of the top 64 qualifying round of the throne race. I am your host, Ake, and the gentleman beside me is none other than your heartthrob, Luo Qing. Ake, a virtual AI, was a renowned figure in Ferrara, known for his exceptional hosting skills. It was said that his language and art module in his central memory had gone through numerous iterations, making him one of the top-tier self-learning AI. As for Luo Qing, the official reason for inviting him was quite obvious. When his gentle and jade-like face was enlarged on the screen, even without speaking, the viewership ratings soared. Ahem, Ake cleared his throat excitedly. Next, I will explain the rules of the competition. This competition follows the Battle Royale format, and this time, we've prepared some truly terrifying monsters. He intentionally made an exaggerated spooky face, and the live chat was immediately filled with laughter. Isn't it just zombies? We guessed that ages ago. Can we see the legendary water monster today? Can't wait. Ha ha ha. Ake making that expression is really silly. Who wants to see you? I want to watch my Qing. Please switch the camera, thank you. Can the guy upstairs with dreams roll out? Can't you go crazy in your own private live room? Is the ugly guy upstairs triggered? The competition hadn't even started yet, and the live chat was already buzzing with activity. Colorful fonts kept scrolling across the screen, and the official live chat room became chaotic. AI moderators immediately took action, banning IP addresses that were inciting trouble. According to the rules, there are special items called flags hidden in the field. The team that finds a flag first and delivers it to the endpoint will qualify. Please note that the number of flags is limited, and as long as they haven't reached the endpoint, ownership can transfer at any time. What does that mean? It means that even if you haven't found a flag, you can snatch it from someone else. Ake was completely unaffected by the live chat and playfully made a grabbing motion. For fairness, once a flag is picked up, the player who possesses it will have their location automatically exposed, and others can lock onto their coordinates using the tracking device. How about that? Isn't it interesting? Limited flags, public coordinates. This clearly encouraged Awakeners to fight and potentially kill each other. Some quick-thinking viewers quickly understood the key point and became even more excited. Alright, I see that some viewers are asking what the flags are. I can't reveal that information yet. You'll have to wait until the competition begins for Ake to unveil it for everyone. Let's take a look at the viewership ratings for our contestants. Currently in the lead is 52-1 player Duanmuchi, followed by 105-4, known as the Wild Rose, Irene. And 114-3 is our local contestant from Ferrara, Feng Duona. Hey, they're all handsome men and beautiful women. So, it turns out everyone goes for looks, huh? Just kidding. The skills of these contestants should not be underestimated. You can also pay to unlock your favorite player's live room and enjoy an immersive experience throughout the game. Want to see Ching? Of course, you can. Let's get the camera on Ching. Ching, do you have any words for the contestants? Facing the camera, Luo Ching maintained impeccable manners with not a single fault, but a hint of solemnity was evident in his warm and unearthly eyes. In this game of life and death, I urge all contestants to give it their all. At 2020, at the northwest corner of Mirror Lake, the last group of teams set off. Song Ke and Xu Xing stepped into the Forbidden Forest, and the trackers on their wrists blinked brightly. 2 drones followed closely beside them. No vehicles were allowed inside Mirror Lake, so the participants had to proceed on foot. Looking up, the sky was mostly obscured by the tangled branches of trees. The dim light of the night made it difficult to see, and even if they stretched their necks, they could only faintly glimpse the neon lights of Ferrara in the distance. Before long, the 2 of them reached the edge of a swamp. Sister, where do you think the flag will be? It can't just be stuck in the ground, right? Could it be buried in the soil, and we have to dig it up ourselves? Xu Xing actively used his little brain and shared his guess. Whoosh! A group of dark shadows darted past them from behind. Song Ke and Xu Xing immediately fell silent, turning their heads vigilantly. Across the dark swamp, over a dozen bizarre-looking creatures were staring at them from the branches. Their eyes emitted a green glow, their heads looked like mice, but their limbs and abdomen were as robust as rabbits. They had thick, black fur on their backs. In the blink of an eye, they swiftly flew to the other side. Xu Xing swallowed hard, suppressing his fear, and his voice trembled slightly. They seemed to be mutated rats. They looked a lot like the cockroaches they encountered in Wa City. They were zombie rats. Song Ke lowered her voice to avoid alarming them. Xiaoxing, take control. Xu Xing opened his hand, and a fine snowstorm flowed out from his palm, causing the surface of the swamp to freeze. His move was quite effective, covering the path of the approaching zombie rats. Since it was a widespread area of effect, they couldn't avoid it. The claws of those rats were frozen, and their flight speed significantly slowed down as they tumbled from low altitude. The swamp and the ground were intertwined, making it difficult to distinguish the edge. Song Ke didn't rashly charge forward. With a slight movement of her fingertips, several bright crescent-shaped throwing knives were released towards the group of rats, hitting them squarely in the head and harvesting a large number of them. She cautiously took 2 steps forward, intending to examine the situation, but suddenly, a large net fell from the sky towards her head. Song Ke reacted swiftly, rolling close to the ground, quickly moving out of the net's range. However, The bodies of those rats were collected into a bag on the opposite side. The other side's goal was clearly to snatch their gains. Song K suddenly raised her head. On the opposite side of the swamp, there was a 5-person team in full formation. The short-haired woman among them had just retracted a soft net, which she had likely used as her ability. She was accompanied by 4 others, 2 burly men holding steel knives, and another 2 who seemed to be twins, bearing a striking resemblance to each other, with blood-red ropes tied around their arms. They didn't seem friendly. "Hey, this spot is taken by us. You should go elsewhere," the short-haired woman arrogantly said, lifting her chin. In the live stream room of Team 172, viewers who were watching the match were reveling in the situation. No way, these 2 are so unlucky. They encounter the bloodthirsty duo at the beginning. The bloodthirsty duo consists of Ren Ting and Ren Li, both sea-level awakeners in the weapon category. Do you think they'll set the record for the quickest elimination? Light a candle in silence. Yu Hong is quite strong in the D-level category too. Her net is really hard to break. Team 172, known as Lock You Up, had a decent support rate in the preliminaries, at 76%, thanks to the team's composition of an awakener with a net and 2 with ropes, earning them the nickname, Binding Combo. Song K kept her eyes on them but didn't move. She puffed her cheeks, trying to think of a suitable comeback. Xu Xing knew that Song K wasn't good at verbal confrontations and would definitely lose if asked to argue. So, he confidently stepped forward, serving as Song K's mouthpiece. "Why should we leave? Are your names written here? We're the ones who killed those rats. Give them back to us. So many adults like you, can't you fend for yourselves? Always looking for a free meal, lazy and shameless." Although those zombie rats were not high-level creatures, it still felt unpleasant to have them snatched away by someone else. Also, maybe due to spending time with Zhuang Qingyan, Xu Xing's ability to sarcastically taunt people had become increasingly sharp. "You little brat, you haven't even weaned yet, and you've come here to die?" The twin siblings, not caring that Xu Xing was just a child, didn't hesitate and immediately took action. Their crimson ropes snaked like venomous serpents, entwining and aiming directly for his neck, seemingly intent on strangling him. The 2 burly men wielding steel knives also circumvented the swamp and headed toward Xu Xing. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Yu Hong swung her soft net once more, unleashing 4 consecutive strikes. Although she didn't capture Song K, she managed to block her path, trapping her in place. The group had a clear target: eliminate the mouthy kid first. Xu Xing darted and dodged among the trees, occasionally rolling close to the ground. His special training had not been in vain. Despite looking a bit disheveled, his small stature and snake-like movements allowed him to evade the ropes. Ren Ting sneered, showing disdain, and scoffed, "Oh, so you're a king of words, huh? I thought you had some talent. Is rolling on the ground your only skill?" Xu Xing kept his mouth shut and focused on escaping. At this moment, he wasn't going to exchange words. Song K smirked within the encircling soft net. In the post-apocalyptic world, never underestimate any awakener. They would soon learn the cost of underestimating Xu Xing. Xu Xing led the 2 men wielding steel knives toward the vicinity of the swamp. Being lightweight, he easily leapt to the other side, while the 2 burly men were less fortunate. They sank into the swamp, and the black muck submerged their lower legs. Ren Ting and Ren Li's vision blurred for a moment as a sudden flurry of heavy snow descended around them. Sharp black ice shards shot out from beneath the swamp, slicing through their ropes, splattering mud all over them. "Ah!" The twins spat out the mud from their mouths, their faces as black as coal. The next second, both of them paled. Xu Xing had disappeared. Yu Hong anxiously shouted from behind, "He's gone." Ren Li responded irritably, "I am not blind, I saw." "No, the girl's gone too." The twins were taken aback and turned to look in the direction of the soft net. Sure enough, Song K had vanished as well. Suddenly, a fierce snowstorm engulfed the surroundings, and the biting cold wind made it impossible to keep their eyes open. Gone, gone? The members of Lock You Up checked all 4 directions within their line of sight and found no trace of anyone. Where did they go? Whoosh! A blue light illuminated the sky. A slender figure swiftly moved among the treetops, leaping into the air and somersaulting downward. Song K drew a pair of long and short spirit blades from her back and unleashed 2 consecutive strikes. Clang! Yu Hong's soft net snapped like paper, too fragile to withstand a single blow. With her ability destroyed, her mental strength suffered a heavy blow, leaving her brain in chaos. She slumped to the ground, falling into unconsciousness. Arrogant, right in front of me, bullying us at range? Think I don't exist? Song K leapt to the other side, her blade relentlessly striking toward the twins. The azure dual blades met the crimson long rope head-on. Unexpectedly, the rope wound around the blade's edge. Song K raised the tip of her blade, a glint of darkness passed, and the rope immediately shattered into pieces. She switched from backhand to forehand, attacking relentlessly, balancing her strikes between left and right, overwhelming the twins with a flurry of blade attacks. Ren Ting and Ren Li had no way to counter this close-range assault. After taking several strikes head-on, they were heavily injured, sent flying 7 to 8 meters away, and collided harshly with a large tree. Almost simultaneously with Song K's attack, in another direction, several ice shards flew out from behind the trees, accurately targeting the swamp. Plop! 2 burly men had their backs pierced. Song K in a 1 vs 3 situation, and Xu Xing in a 1 vs 2 situation, wiped out. Lock You Up. All of them were incapacitated. Song K picked up their trackers and sent out the elimination signal. Soon, robots would come to clean up the battlefield. What the heck? Who are these people? The people in the 172 livestream room couldn't help but curse. Who were these 2? So powerful? They took down the bloodthirsty duo at first sight? Why didn't we hear anything about them before? Some curious individuals checked the pre-selection support rate for V587 and were surprised to find it was only 61%. They barely made it through the preliminary rounds. This didn't make sense. After Lock You Up was eliminated, their 5 individual livestream rooms were simultaneously closed. Those who had previously supported them couldn't stand the loneliness and switched sides, paying to unlock V587's livestream room with the thought of, I want to see how these 2 will die. However, when they entered and took a look, they were in for a surprise. The livestream rooms 161-1 and 161-2 were probably the most pathetic among all the participants. They had no sponsors, no popularity, and had less than 300 viewers. What the heck? Those latecomer viewers, with a strange and unexplainable mix of emotions, settled into this cold and empty livestream room. Song K used the tip of her blade to inspect the bodies of the zombie rats, but she didn't find anything unusual. She walked back to Xu Xing and exchanged a high five. Xiaoxing, you did great. You're amazing too, sister. Another round of mutual compliments was exchanged, and then Song K said seriously, first, let's leave this place. The commotion was too loud. In case another team heard the commotion and decided to converge on them, it would be troublesome. Song K wasn't afraid of a fight, but she didn't want to waste time. Their top priority was still to find the flag and ensure their advancement. In the official livestream room, AK was enthusiastically commentating on another conflict. At 2022, in the eastern part of Mirror Lake, 2 of the favorites in this competition, 3 grandsons and 1 grandfather, encountered Shengxing Tea House. The 2 teams of ability users faced each other at a distance, their expressions tense, and neither side made any hasty moves. Duan Muqi was the first to speak. Old Shang, the match is still long. There's no need to have a few casualties here, right? Mr. Zhang's eyes sparkled as he glanced around and diverted the topic. Young Duan, how did I hear that you got injured? He snorted, Since you're already injured, why don't you rest at home instead of coming out and running around? Be careful not to develop any other problems. Behind Mr. Shang, a shadow hovered in the air, with a pair of ominous eyes fixed firmly on Duanmuchi. Faint black mist drifted toward him, gradually closing in on the area around Duanmuchi. Plop, thick thorns erupted from the ground, breaking through the soil. With a snap, they dispelled the black mist. Duanmuchi laughed. Mr. Shang, you're underestimating me. He raised his hand gently, and countless thorns grew wildly, surrounding the members of Shengxing Tea House and pointing threateningly at them. Duanmuchi's ability was at its peak, even more so than before. Mr. Shang stared at him for a couple of seconds, then chuckled, "Young Duan, you've misunderstood. This old man was just concerned about you. We're heading north. Hopefully, we won't encounter any unpleasant situations along the way. We'll see you at the finish line." "That's perfect. We're heading south. We'll see you at the finish line." Duanmuchi understood the implied message in his words and smiled as he closed his hands. The thorns also retracted. The two teams, one heading north and the other south, parted ways and continued their journey. "Oh, they didn't start a fight." Ake clicked his tongue, looking somewhat disappointed. "It's a wise decision," Luo Qing commented. "The flag hasn't appeared yet. Starting a conflict now would only deplete their strength, which wouldn't bode well for the rest of the competition." "Qing is right," Ake agreed. "But we also see that rational leaders like Duanmuchi and Mr. Shang are in the minority. We're 25 minutes into the game, and there's no sign of the flag. There have been small-scale disputes and skirmishes among awakeners. So far, 5 teams have miserably been eliminated. In the brutal format of the Battle Royale, being eliminated meant either death or severe injury. Let's take a look at some highlights." The director cut to several exciting moments. Because there were too many teams erupting into conflicts, the footage of Song K taking down lock you up was mixed in and went unnoticed for less than 2 seconds, not attracting much attention. In the depths of Mirror Lake, Song K and Xu Xing continued forward for another 5 to 6 minutes without encountering any other teams. The night breeze rustled through the branches, causing leaves to brush against each other, creating a sound like a child's whimpering. Song K's steps gradually slowed down until she came to a stop. "Sister, did you find something? Did you feel anything strange?" "What's strange?" Song K couldn't pinpoint what was strange, but her intuition told her something was off. If Zhuang Qingyan were here, he probably would have noticed by now. Song K recalled his calm attitude along the way. Although he seemed a bit unconventional, he was always quick to identify key problems, whether it was the insect swarm in Hua City or the later commission mission in Ferrara. Wait, Song K's train of thought abruptly stopped. She knew what was wrong. Where did the zombies go? Chapter 42. Bloody Ferrara, 14. Doomsday Spiritual Artifact Master Concentric Circles Water Monster. Concentric circles at 2056, in the central area of Mirror Lake. Close to halfway up the hill, the temperature noticeably dropped, thin snow-covered pine branches, and dry leaves scattered the deserted path, making a rustling sound when stepped on. A team of 3, after enduring countless hardships, finally managed to kill a zombie that had a bluish hue on its surface. Phew, this monster is really tricky. It was obviously dying, yet it resurrected at full health. Looks like it has mutated. Luckily, I acted quickly and landed another blow. Hey, what's this? The man bent down and plucked a pure white, perfectly octahedral transparent crystal from the zombie's head. It's quite unique. I never expected to find diamonds inside a zombie's head. Ha ha, he joked, thinking himself witty. Liangza, your tracker is turning red. His companions pointed at him in terror, their voices trembling. At 2057, all the supernatural beings within Mirror Lake received a notification. The flag appears, broadcasting remaining flag coordinates. 452, 671, 109. The first flag had appeared. At first, Everyone was puzzled, but the teams closest to the coordinates reacted the fastest and immediately rushed towards the location. "Sister, it's the flag." In the dim forest, Xu Xing, after reading the announcement, whispered to alert his sister. Song Ke lowered her head to check her tracker. The coordinates weren't far from their location, and there was even a route displayed. If they went all out, it would only take about 10 minutes. They had just searched the area nearby, not even spotting a zombie. This was their only clue, and she immediately made a decision. "Let's go, check it out." When Song Ke and Xu Xing arrived at the center of Mirror Lake, the flag's coordinates had already been reached by another team. Rather than rushing in recklessly, the two found a concealed large tree and observed the situation. In the center of the encirclement were 3 disheveled awakeners, their legs trembling as they knelt on the ground, clearly suffering from severe injuries. "I say, don't be so stingy. Let us see what the flag is." In front of the 3, a muscular supernatural being crossed his arms and casually remarked, "Do you really have to maintain civility in a battle royale like this? Just kill him, and we'll know." His impatient teammate attacked immediately, turning his palm into a fist and striking towards the 3. Bang! The awakener named Liangza was instantly killed, blood splattered everywhere, and a transparent object rolled out from his body onto the ground. The person who threw the punch reacted swiftly, picking it up and holding it high. Through the dim night, the perfectly octahedral crystal emitted a faint glow. He exclaimed in surprise, "It's a crystal. So, the flag is..." Before he could finish speaking, a red light flashed, and the person who had just been talking had his head and neck separated, falling to the ground with a thud. More awakeners arrived, this time numbering in the dozens. The newcomers grabbed the crystal, excitedly shouting, "I got it!" Flag coordinates refreshed. Broadcasting remaining flag coordinates. 486, 597, 88. Flag coordinates refreshed. Broadcasting remaining flag coordinates. 402, 553, 87. In just a few seconds, ownership of the crystal shifted twice, and the tracker displayed 4 notifications. "Brothers, the crystal is the flag. Hurry up and grab it. Deliver it to the finish line to win." In a chaotic environment, someone shouted loudly, fearing that the world would not be in chaos. The people around suddenly woke up, and various supernatural abilities lit up, and they fought recklessly, attempting to kill and loot. Song Ke pulled Xu Xing back to avoid getting caught in the crossfire. Suddenly, her psychic senses picked up something and she looked straight in a certain direction. Just as everyone was engaged in a fierce battle, a deep roar erupted from behind them. In the shadows noticed by Song Ke, 3 entirely greenish-blue zombies sprang from the woods, pounding the ground with their fists, sending sand, soil, and stones flying as if the earth itself was trembling. They were mutated zombies. The awakeners in the chaotic battle fell silent for a moment. "Hurry, charge, crystals come from the mutated zombies. Kill the zombies, get the crystals, and go to the next round." The voice that had been stirring the pot earlier resurfaced, adding fuel to the fire. Several messy wind blades shaved away the branches and leaves concealing Song Ke, forcing her to retreat again. The battle zone was in complete chaos, with the awakeners no longer distinguishing between friend and foe, using their area of effect attacks. Song Ke focused her gaze on the young man who had been inciting others to fight while standing on the sidelines as if watching a show. He had ice-blue eyes and seemed quite young. He deliberately egged others on to fight while enjoying the spectacle himself, standing outside the circle as if he were an innocent bystander. This person was not simple. The destructive power of the 3 mutated zombies was astonishing, and the awakeners, each with their own agenda, were unable to defeat them in a short time and were instead being suppressed. A month ago, killing mutated zombies had been an A-level mission, but now it had become the sustenance for the throne race. Song Ke suddenly realized why they hadn't encountered ordinary zombies on their journey. The real stars of this competition were the mutated zombies with crystals. What did that Ilya want to do? According to the rules, the number of flags is limited. How many mutated zombies had he brought? By the lakeside, several mutated zombies suddenly rose up, their fists smashing into the ground with a resounding thud. Powerful shockwaves rippled outward in concentric circles, causing the innermost row of people to lose their balance as the oncoming gusts of air sent them tumbling uncontrollably towards the center of the lake. As they were about to fall into the water, the surface of Mirror Lake rippled with layer upon layer of waves. A massive creature leapt out of the water, its gaping maw opening wide to devour those few awakeners in a single gulp. In front of the crowd stood a gigantic water monster, its head small and almost devoid of eyes. At first glance, it resembled a sleek deep-sea eel, but its back was covered in tough scales. After its hearty meal, the water creature's elephant-like trunk twitched slightly, and it silently submerged back into the depths. "Aw, aw!" In the official live broadcast room, Ake screamed dramatically, holding his face with both hands. Dozens of drones aimed at the central area of Mirror Lake. Ake had been passionately commentating on the chaotic battle, but suddenly witnessing this terrifying scene, he let out a loud cry to enhance the live atmosphere, instantly pushing the viewership data to its peak. Not only Ake but also the millions of viewers immersed in the immersive broadcast were nearly scared to death by the sudden appearance of the water monster. 3 mutated zombies were finally beaten to death haphazardly, one after another falling to the ground. The crystals in their heads were quickly harvested, and the team that had captured the flag wasted no time and bolted. Others, unwilling to leave empty-handed, gnashed their teeth and chased after them. There was still another water monster lurking nearby, and the awakeners dared not linger. They fled in panic through the woods, desperate to escape the danger zone. On the surface of Mirror Lake, countless tiny bubbles bubbled up, and in the next moment, the water monster leapt once again. Its neck, over 10 meters long, stretched forward, and it snapped up several awakeners who hadn't made it to the shore in time. The panicked crowd scattered like headless flies, with several charging towards the large trees where they had taken cover. Song Kei's brow furrowed slightly as she assessed the situation and made a decision. "Xiaoxing, let's retreat first." Yeah, the two of them were still some distance from the shore, relatively safe for the moment. Xu Xing jumped down from a tree trunk and took a few steps forward, preparing to follow Song Kei and leave. Just then, one of the awakeners that the water monster had seized suddenly had their pupils darken, their ability surging. The space around them distorted, and the person disappeared on the spot, only to reappear dozens of meters away. Meanwhile, Xu Xing, who had been in that spot, was unexpectedly lifted into the air, and the water monster swallowed him with a single gulp, its massive jaws closing around him. "Xiaoxing!" Song Kei exclaimed in shock and anger, turning without hesitation and rushing towards the lakeside. The awakener with the dark trick up his sleeve was still gloating, thinking he had narrowly escaped. "That was close. Luckily, I can switch quickly and found a scapegoat. Ha ha ha." A blue-hued throwing knife sliced through the dark, piercing his throat. The man's ecstatic expression hadn't even had time to settle when his awakened energy dissipated, and he instantly died. Song Kei chased the water monster with all her might, but its speed in the water was too fast, and it was about to submerge again. "Xiaoxing!" Song Kei made a leaping dash through the air, landing on the creature's back like a shooting star. She thrust a short knife into its head. The water monster howled in pain, its body contorted, and its massive tail swung fiercely, knocking Song Kei off with a thud. She momentarily lost her footing, sliding down its wet and slippery back. However, her physical abilities and reflexes were extraordinary. Almost as she descended, Song Kei pulled out a 3-edged dagger, viciously stabbing it into the creature's cheek, twisting it left and right. She then hooked her leg and flipped back up. In the official live broadcast room, all the cameras were focused on the Mirror Lake monster and Song Kei, who had suddenly returned to the scene. Real-time data monitoring detected a surge in viewership and immediately switched to the dedicated drone broadcasting Song Kei's perspective. The viewership in room 161-1 was also steadily increasing, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, quickly surpassing 150,000. The scene was just too exciting, and the viewers at their screens were in awe, unable to look away. When Song K fell, countless viewers' hearts tightened. When she reappeared, their expressions relaxed, but then they tensed up again. The once calm lake's surface suddenly erupted with waves, and torrents of water turned into sharp arrows, heading straight for Song K. This was a zombie water monster, or rather, a mutated zombie water monster. The drone's camera was also splashed with water droplets, providing an immersive first-person experience that made the viewers outside the camera feel an inexplicable chill. In the pouring rain, no one noticed the inconspicuous frost forming around the water monster. Facing the rain arrows that were about to pierce her, Song K's hand trembled, and the spiritual weapon umbrella, once famous in Wa City, made a comeback. The enormous umbrella acted like an indestructible shield, blocking all the arrows. Then, she swiftly closed the umbrella, transforming it into a cold and elegant jagged blade, over 2 meters long. The blade pointed downward, and with brute force, she cut through the water monster's head and neck, just like cutting a sack of grain from front to back, one cut after another. The zombie water monster's flesh and skin separated, and bright red muscles and thick black blood splattered, turning the entire mirror lake into a dark red hue. Its long neck fell heavily on the shore. Ake seemed to feel that heart-wrenching pain, and his expression contorted as he clung tightly to Luo Qing. No, he could only cling tightly to himself. The barrage in the live chat was flooded with comments like, "Holy crap, 666, and "Unbelievable." As black blood splattered around, Song K peeled the skin off the water monster while anxiously shouting, "Xiaoxing, where are you?" "Sister, I'm here." A weak voice came, "I'm okay." Perhaps due to the habit of being repeatedly thrown by Zhuang Qingyan, thanks to him, Xu Xing had developed a reflex. Whenever his feet left the ground uncontrollably, he would instinctively release ice spurs to protect himself. This reflex saved him from being crushed by the monster's sharp teeth. Instead, he slid down its throat, narrowly escaping. Song K looked down and finally found Xu Xing in the shredded digestive tract. Xu Xing had displayed incredible resilience. After getting stuck in the esophagus, he deliberately released several long ice spurs to block the passage. Currently, he was lying on the icy surface, covered in foul saliva and mucus, but surprisingly uninjured. Moreover, during Song K's battle with the water monster, he had been attempting to save himself by continuously using his ability, trying to cut his way out through the monster's abdomen. "Come on, get out." Song K also slid in and reached out to him. Xu Xing climbed out gracefully, using the ice steps. After emerging, he didn't smell fresh air but was instead overwhelmed by the foul odor, causing him to feel dizzy. He leaned over the lake and vomited. Several seconds later, Song K crawled out, her entire face and head covered in slime. Xu Xing, with teary eyes from vomiting, looked at her with a puzzled expression. Had his sister fallen into the monster's stomach? Why was she dirtier than him? Song K wiped her face. Let's get out of here and find a place to talk." "Okay." Song K's dedicated drone had been too close earlier and was splattered with the monster's flesh and blood. Its signal short-circuited and burned out. Viewers who had been watching the terminal didn't feel any better. The gore and shredded flesh came rushing at them, causing strong feelings of nausea, dizziness, and a desire to vomit that they couldn't resist. Many people turned off their projections and bent over, retching. It was unbearable. Immersive perspective was indeed too intense. The drone was damaged, and Song K's live stream momentarily went offline. In the control room, the AI director immediately ordered, "Quickly locate the position of 161-1 and send a backup drone over. Cut all the nearby fixed camera feeds to this team." "What's it called?" "Show the V587 feed." "Wait a moment, This artificial intelligence suddenly froze for a few seconds as its central code calculated frantically. Send several backup drones. The sight of that familiar spiritual weapon umbrella reminded it of some dark memories. It was her, of all people. As a top AI director, Song K was an absolute stain on its professional career. Such a serious mistake as in the 178th round of qualifiers must absolutely not happen again. Chapter 43. Bloody Ferrara, 15. Doomsday Spiritual Artifact Master Concentric Circles. The big star and the little bodyguard concentric circles. Flag coordinates refresh. Here are the remaining flag coordinates. 324, 865, 101, 779, 1023, 55, 1356, 954, 321. Flag coordinates refresh. Here are the remaining. 2112, outside Mirror Lake. After the appearance of the first flag, in just a moment, it seemed as though a battle horn had been sounded within Mirror Lake. The smell of gunpowder grew stronger, and the system announcements kept refreshing. All areas were in full bloom, with one team killing mutant zombies only to be killed and have their flag taken by the next. Similar atrocities repeated continuously, and flag ownership changed hands frequently. Some crystals even changed ownership more than a dozen times in just a few minutes. Song K and Xu Xing continued running without a break, stopping at a distance from Mirror Lake. The backup drone closely followed, circling around her, afraid of losing her again. Both of them were covered in dirt, desperately in need of cleaning, but the only nearby water source was Mirror Lake, which had already been completely contaminated by the water monster's corpse. Song K had no intention of turning back, so she thought for a moment and took out an empty bucket from her necklace space. Xiaoxing, release some powers. Huh? Okay. Xu Xing scratched his head, responding with confusion. Thud, thud. Several ice shards as thick as small arms fell directly through the bottom of the bucket. Song K. Xu Xing innocently blinked his eyes. He didn't do it on purpose, and he wasn't a water-based awakener, so he definitely couldn't release a drop. No, release some snow, Song K said helplessly. Oh, I see, Xu Xing suddenly realized. This time, he carefully controlled his powers and piled a neat little snow mountain in the bucket. The two of them used the cool ice and snow to wipe their faces and bodies, finally getting rid of the disgusting slime. Sister, thank you for saving me. Xu Xing still had lingering fear from the moment he was almost swallowed by the water monster. His tone was soft, and his gaze was affectionate as he thanked Song K. His sister was really good. In that situation just now, she didn't leave him behind and run away. You're a calm companion, it's what I should do. Song K patted his head. By the way, Song K thought of something, but before she could continue, her expression froze. There were faint footsteps coming from the woods. Someone was approaching. The newcomer didn't hide or conceal themselves and boldly appeared from behind them. Chatting in a place like this isn't a good choice, you know. Tilda, a gracefully proportioned woman, gradually took shape. She wore a half-black mask that covered the upper half of her face, leaving only her rosy and plump lips and her beautifully curved chin visible. Her chestnut-colored wavy hair was tied into a ponytail, piled loosely behind her head. Even if her face couldn't be clearly seen, her overall demeanor exuded an irresistible charm. Behind the woman, a tall man in an all-black combat suit, like a ghostly knight, silently acted as her shadow, protecting her. The moment Song K recognized her, she immediately reacted. This woman was Lin Yuyu. We meet again, Lin Yuyu greeted first. Song K didn't respond. Under the brutal rules of the Battle Royale, she wouldn't easily trust anyone unless they were her companions. Lin Yuyu smiled and said, "Don't be nervous. Since neither of us has a flag now, can't we have a peaceful conversation?" Song K hesitated for a while and then asked, What do you want to talk about? Are you interested in cooperating with us?" Song K was taken aback. Cooperation again? During the incident at Luli Port, Lin Yuyu didn't gain much advantage because of the presence of Zhuang Qingyan, who was very cunning. She only exchanged for the useless crystal. However, from Lin Yuyu's perspective, she had come for the crystal in the first place, so she didn't actually suffer a loss. Now, with only herself and Xu Xing, Song Ke was very self-aware that she must be the one who'd suffer. She shook her head vigorously, saying, I'm not interested. Don't reject so quickly. How about you hear the conditions first? Lin Yuyu dangled a tempting offer. We team up to snatch 2 crystals, and then we each take one. How does that sound? Because of her guarded stance, Song Ke was particularly clever at this moment and countered with a clear thought. Why should I team up with you? You've seen it yourself. Both our teams only have 2 people, and compared to those fully formed teams, our combat power is seriously lacking. Even if we can kill mutant zombies, we'll soon be hunted down, surrounded. The risk is just too great. Lin Yuyu wasn't making empty promises. She was purely a support-type awakener. Although her awakener level was high, she could only rely on Su Cha to make moves in crystal snatching. On the other hand, Song Ke and Xu Xing were both highly offensive awakeners, one specializing in close combat and the other in long-range attacks. Their attack methods were vastly different, and if they were dispersed and besieged, they would be at a disadvantage. The best solution was for the 2 teams to form an alliance, join forces to seize the crystals, and in terms of both numbers and combat power, it would be a qualitative leap. Song Ke still shook her head, saying, crystals are very, very important to you. Lin Yuyu had once abandoned an A-level mission for the sake of a crystal. Why should Song Ke believe that she wouldn't turn against her for crystals in the future? Lin Yuyu's eyes dimmed slightly, and some obscure emotions flickered across her gaze. Yes, but I want to advance. Winning is more important to me. Lin Yuyu's captivating eyes looked at Song Ke. I thought we had some basis of trust due to our previous interactions? Song Ke didn't show anything on her face, but inside, she had her doubts and reservations. What basis of trust? With a big liar like Zhuang Qingyan in front of her, how could she dare to trust others casually? Lin Yuyu observed her expression and then dropped a bombshell. How about this? You take the crystal first. Does that work for you? That's it, little sister. I'm really sincere, and with so many drones watching, you don't have to worry about me deceiving you. Song Ke struggled and hesitated for a while, then turned to Xu Xing to discuss. Finally, she reluctantly nodded, all right. As Lin Yuyu had suggested, the success rate of 4 people working together was evidently higher, and she could take the crystal first. It seemed like she couldn't lose. She hoped she wouldn't lose. She decided to trust the beautiful sister one more time. After reaching a preliminary agreement for cooperation, the 4 of them moved together, but Song Ke and Xu Xing still maintained a certain distance from the other 2. Su Cha took the initiative to take on the role of scouting. He was extremely skilled at concealing himself, like a chameleon. If one wasn't careful, he could completely disappear into the darkness, blending in with the surroundings. Even if Song Ke kept a close eye on his whereabouts, it took her a while to locate his true position. Stealth, concealment, assassination, poisoning. Su Cha was truly in his element in the Mirror Lake environment. However, Song Ke had a new doubt. Why would someone like Su Cha team up with the famous star Lin Yuyu and obediently follow her orders? Whether it was snatching A-level missions or killing the zombie Zhang Lei, Su Cha didn't hesitate to do whatever Lin Yuyu told him to do. Song Ke couldn't help but be curious and, with little hope, she asked, why did you team up? Are you talking about Su Cha? Lin Yuyu's lips curled slightly. Strictly speaking, he's my bodyguard. Song Ke's eyes widened, and she couldn't help but exclaim in amazement in her mind. Wow, a bodyguard. So, the big star from District C actually travels with a bodyguard? Are you surprised? Lin Yuyu teased her with interest. Have you not secretly looked up my name after that day? Lin Yuyu's current appearance and disguise were completely different from what she showed in public. She had donned an anti-snooping mask, and even with drones around, someone like her, who wasn't a popular player, wouldn't be exposed as long as she didn't foolishly shout, "I'm Lin Yu." A faint blush spread across Song Kei's cheeks, and she thought to herself, "Not only did I look you up, but I also listened to your famous song, 'Thank You for Loving Me,' many, many times. I almost know the lyrics by heart." Lin Yu seemed to find her reaction exceptionally cute and giggled. "It's okay to tell you," Lin Yu said casually. "To put it simply, Su Cha was in a very desperate situation for a while, as pitiful as a stray little dog. Since I'm kind-hearted, I took him in and even paid him a salary. Naturally, he's responsible for protecting me." Song Kei's voice was small as she asked, But he listens to you so obediently." Lin Yu casually twirled her ponytail with her finger and said, "Isn't it normal for a stray little dog that's been picked up to be loyal to its owner?" "Little dog, owner?" Song Kei choked and was left speechless. What kind of simple and bizarre metaphors did Lin Yu come up with? Up ahead in the shadows, Su Cha's steps momentarily paused as he glanced in their direction. It was evident that he had heard the famous star's description of him. However, his expression remained unchanged as he calmly accepted his new nickname. Lin Yu stifled a laugh, lightly tapping Xu Xing's head with her delicate fingertips. "And you like clinging to your sister, don't you?" Xu Xing subconsciously nodded on the side. Yes, he did like sticking close to his sister. Wait a minute, was this lady calling him a little dog too? Annoying, just like Zhuang Qingyan. Xu Xing dared not voice his anger but secretly clenched his little canine teeth. Flag coordinates refresh. Here are the remaining flag coordinates. 195, 773, 218. Song Kei and Lin Yu halted their conversation, their expressions startled. This newly refreshed flag was exceptionally close to them, almost right in front of their faces. As this announcement appeared, there came a hoarse roar from the mountainside ahead. Could it be that the mutant zombie guarding the crystal flag was still alive? Lin Yu and Song Kei exchanged a glance and made a quick decision. "Quick, we might still be able to grab it." The four of them sprinted at full speed towards the flag coordinates. Upon arriving at the mountainside, they indeed found a fierce battle still ongoing. Roughly estimating, there were 3 different groups of people present. There was already one mutant zombie lying on the ground with its skull split open, and the crystal inside had been taken. However, there was still one alive, although it was barely hanging on, teetering on the brink of death. "Quick, take action," Lin Yu urgently called out. Now was not the time to be concerned about who got there first. Song Kei and Su Cha leapt into action almost simultaneously, rushing towards the center of the battle. Xu Xing took the opportunity to release several ice shards to disrupt the other superpower users in the vicinity. Song Kei drew her dual blades, and Su Cha's dagger gleamed with a dark green light as they both aimed for the mutant zombie's head. All the Awakeners were racing against time, bombarding the mutant zombie with their strongest attacks. Its condition rapidly deteriorated. Just at that moment, the stubborn zombie trembled all over, its body expanding several tens of times in size, and then it exploded with a bang. "Get down!" After the body exploded, body parts scattered in all directions, and a few sporadic pieces hit some of the Awakeners. Shortly afterward, an unbearable stench filled the air, and a blood mist rose, enveloping everyone. Song Kei's line of sight was obstructed, so she had to rely on her memory to aim at the zombie's head. Her long knife pierced the skull, and she twisted it. It was empty. The crystal had already been taken. A few seconds later, the blood mist gradually dissipated. None of the Awakeners present were harmed physically, but they all had disgusted expressions on their faces. Song Kei turned back and glanced in the direction where Lin Yu was. She shook her head slightly, indicating that they hadn't managed to grab it. Then she looked at Su Cha beside her, who was empty-handed and had a disappointed expression. Su Cha hadn't managed to get it either? So, the crystal was in someone else's hands. Song K focused her attention on the group of awakeners. 3 groups of people, and you could tell a lot from their positions. One group was a full team of 5, all males. Their bodies showed signs of mechanical modifications, mechanical arms, mechanical legs, and one even had a mechanical head. His facial features were still natural, but it looked like he had a layer of mechanical skin on the outside. When he turned his neck, it made a creaking sound. It was both eerie and horrifying. Song K recalled the lessons Zhuang Qingyan had given her. A team with such a distinctive style could only be one of the top contenders. Team 88, the Ananites. The second team consisted of 4 women, all with slightly darker skin. They were dressed in provocative and sexy outfits, all of them tall with long legs. They had new generation hot weapons strapped to their legs and arms. Unfortunately, Song K wasn't familiar with these weapons. If Zhuang Qingyan were here, he could quickly identify them: the Super Red Eagle, the Gaboon Viper pistol, and the Barrett M82A1 large caliber sniper rifle. These weapons were all devastatingly powerful. The tall woman leading this team was even more exaggerated. Short boots, hot pants, tan skin, and she was carrying a particle Gatling cannon on her shoulder. If she didn't like someone, she could send them to the heavens. This team was also in Zhuang Qingyan's information. Team 105, the Guns N' Roses. As for the third team, they looked the most normal based on appearance. The members included both men and women, and they all had thick, smoky eye makeup. However, when compared to the first 2 teams, they seemed less impressive. Furthermore, their faces were unfamiliar to Song K, and she was sure they weren't part of Zhuang Qingyan's be on high alert list. Now the question was, which team had taken advantage of the chaos to grab the crystal? As Song K contemplated, the system announcement appeared once again. Flag coordinates refresh. Here are the remaining flag coordinates: 195, 773, 218, 195, 773, 218. Song K was puzzled. The coordinates provided by the tracker were sorted based on the nearest recipient, so how could they be repeated? Did the announcement have an error? No, she immediately realized that the announcement was not wrong. There had originally been 1 flag here, and with the recent killing of the second superpower zombie, there were now 2 crystals and 2 flags. Hey, who took the crystals? Dare to admit it? Other people had evidently received the same announcement. From the third team, a sweet-faced girl with a melodic voice stepped forward. Song K was puzzled. Who is this person? A barely audible and chanting voice wormed its way into her ear. Her name is Feng Duona, from Team 114, Ferrara Star. Song K jumped in surprise, her hand instinctively reaching for her ear. No one else seemed to have noticed, making it seem like only she could hear the voice. Song K discreetly glanced at Lin Yuyu, and indeed, the other woman blinked at her. Do you know each other? Song K mumbled to herself, unsure of how to communicate with Lin Yuyu, speaking softly into the air. Lin Yuyu, seemingly able to hear her, continued to speak in a hushed voice near her ear. Feng Duona is just a nobody, no need to know her. As for Irene, it's just a nodding acquaintance. Oh, Song K replied, still unable to fathom the social circle of a top celebrity, and nodded in innocence. On the other side, Feng Duona, realizing no one was paying attention to her, swiftly changed her strategy and prepared to dismantle them one by one. She first looked at the Ananites, pointing at the first dead zombie on the ground. If I'm not mistaken, you've already taken the crystal from this zombie, haven't you? When they arrived earlier, this barbaric group of mechanical people had just killed the first zombie. Subsequently, the system issued an announcement. Feng Duona was 100% certain that they had the loot. Why are you still fighting over it? With 1 crystal, you can advance. Feng Duona scolded, displeased. On the side of the Ananites, the most menacing one, Mechanical Head, sneered, who do you think you are? You're teaching me how to do things. You. Feng Duona was taken aback. The attitude of another one, Mechanical Leg, wasn't much better. He looked down on her and said, "You already know we have a crystal, and you're still asking? We didn't snatch the one earlier, but we won't give up this one. If you want to fight, then fight, stop whining." Feng Duona stared at them for a few seconds and turned to the Guns N' Roses. "Not in our possession." Feng Duona heard the reply from Irene before she could speak. All eyes shifted to Song K and the others. "Song K, what do they mean? We don't have it either." Feng Duona shouted sternly, "Hand over the crystal." Who do you think why?" Song K wanted to mimic the arrogant tone of Mechanical Head, but before she could finish saying, "You," Feng Duona's next sentence came. "If you don't hand over the crystal, don't even think about leaving." Song K, hateful, she won't even let me finish my tough talk. A pair of soft jade hands rested on Song K's shoulders, and Lin Yu leaned over her, facing the rude and overbearing Feng Duona. She deliberately adjusted her vocal position, disguising her voice as mature and authoritative, saying, "It's a pity that your gun is pointed at the wrong person. We didn't steal the crystal either." Now things were getting interesting. At the scene, with 4 teams present, 3 of them claimed they didn't steal anything. The remaining team, represented by Feng Duona, was everywhere, pressuring others. Unfortunately, the flag coordinates were right near them. Even the children could tell someone was lying. Feng Duona seemed to have narrowed down her suspicions and no longer paid attention to the group of robots. Her gaze shifted back and forth between 2 women, Irene and Lin Yu, saying, "I advise you to be honest, or don't blame me for taking action." Irene chuckled, pointing the Gatling gun at Feng Duona, showing no concern for her threat. Lin Yu burst into laughter and said, "Are you mentally ill? What's with all this female rivalry? You believe the men who said they didn't steal it? Why are you so naive? Besides, whoever steals the crystal gets to keep it. Why should we give it to you?" "Yeah, this beautiful lady is right," chimed in Mechanical Leg sarcastically. "Even if we did steal it, just because you say so, we have to obediently hand it over? Miss Feng, are you overestimating yourself? Do you think the whole world revolves around you?" Mechanical Head made a creaking sound as it turned its neck, its nostrils pointed skyward, and it exaggeratedly said, "An unknown little internet celebrity who thinks she's a star just because she sings a few lines. Do you think you're Lin Yu? If you were Lin Yu, I might consider it." Song K and Shu Xing took a sharp breath, their eyes shifting towards the masked woman. This Mechanical Head was actually a fan of Lin Yu. It was too terrifying. Lin Yu gave them a glare, and the 2 of them quickly turned away. "Since none of you stole the crystal, then shut up." Feng Duona became furious, nearly exploding in anger. Lin Yu, it was Lin Yu again. This woman's name was her nightmare. Both of them debuted with a sweet and lovely image. Why was it that Lin Yu could become one of the top 10 rising stars, while she was only fit to be an obscure internet celebrity? That damned Mechanical Head dared to bring up Lin Yu. Feng Duona's anger flared, and since that was the case, she wouldn't hesitate to be ruthless. "Kill them all." Her 4 teammates immediately took action, removing the long cases from their backs and revealing musical instruments. It turned out to be an Awakeners band. The electric guitar started with a soaring sound, followed by the bass's low and angry roar, the electric piano's rapid and furious notes, and the jazz drum's lively beats. With each instrument playing, people's heads felt like they were exploding. When Feng Duona spoke again, the live performance was practically a sonic assault, and Irene and the others couldn't take it anymore, resorting to particle cannon fire. Bam bam, clang clang, noise and gunfire filled the air, and the scene descended into chaos once again. Song K wished she could cover her ears. Oh my god, Feng Duona's ability was no longer just mental, it was a physical attack. Everyone who heard it suffered excruciating headaches, feeling like they had been run over by a car. In the official live broadcast room, AK was commentating on the battle. "Ah," he suddenly exclaimed, his expression filled with indescribable emotions. Few artificial intelligences exhibited emotions as rich as his. I strongly recommend, folks in front of your terminals, you might want to temporarily mute the volume. Listening to this kind of singing too much can damage your brain. The barrage of comments immediately flooded with laughter and remarks like, ha ha ha, thanks, already muted, and, as long as Nana doesn't sing, everything's fine. Ching, what do you think? I'm really curious. Do you also agree with what player CO said, that Feng Duona can't compare to Lin Yuyu? Amidst his busy commentary, Ake didn't forget to cue in Luo Qing. Luo Qing's long eyelashes fluttered like butterflies, and his every movement remained as graceful as a young nobleman. However, his words showed no mercy. There's no comparison. Ha ha ha, I'm dying. Why is Luo Qing so straightforward? I feel bad. It seems Feng Duona is still his fan, right? Light a candle for Nana. But Lin Yuyu is genuinely naturally sweet, not pretending at all. Feng Duona, this kind of imitation can never match. Inside the Mirror Lake Arena. You're the spring breeze tilde blowing away the haze in my heart tilde. A refreshing voice rang in the ears of Song Ke, Su Cha, and Shu Xing, instantly dispelling the auditory disaster brought by Feng Duona and her band. Song Ke was deeply moved. Zhuang Qingyan had guessed it right again. Lin Yuyu's ability could indeed affect her allies. Whispers in her ears resurfaced, K-Air, go and check Irene. See if she has the crystal. Song Ke wanted to argue with Lin Yuyu for giving her a nickname, but now was not the time to quibble. She nodded and leapt into the battlefield like a swallow, heading straight for Irene. She swung her sword, striking Irene's Gatling gun, and demanded, Crystal, hand it over. Irene suddenly found herself in trouble, struggling to block with her gun. No, but Song Ke's strength was too great. Even though she blocked a part of it, she still experienced a tremendous recoil, sliding back over 10 meters with her heavy gun before barely stopping. At the same time, on the other side, Mechanical Head punched the guitarist of the Ferrara Star, the creator of the noise. He grunted and flew backward, his electric guitar escaping his grip and soaring into the sky. Then, it spun and descended straight towards Irene. Irene had just stabilized her stance and couldn't intercept it with her gun. Seeing her about to meet her demise, Lin Yuyu suddenly spoke, shouting to Song Ke, K-Air, save her. Song Ke stepped on a tree trunk, using it to propel himself into the air. His lower leg struck the electric guitar with force. The massive electric guitar instantly changed direction, wobbling as it descended towards the Ananites. Upon impact with the ground, it exploded with a deafening roar, filling the air with smoke. Cough, cough. After the choking gun smoke dissipated, the crowd was surprised to find that the Ananites had disappeared. Shortly after, the coordinates of both flags began moving rapidly, quickly getting several kilometers away from them. A haughty laughter echoed in the air from Mechanical Head, goodbye, folks. I won't serve you. I just love taking 2 crystals to complete a mission. One to keep and one to throw away. Ah, it's all for fun. Feng Duona clenched her teeth in anger. Chase, the Ferrara Star, closely followed the Ananites, and left the area. Irene was helped up by her companions. This time, she had narrowly escaped death. She looked at Song Ke and Lin Yuyu and mouthed, thank you. Irene could tell that Song Ke's earlier attack was just a test, and the falling electric guitar was purely accidental. If she hadn't intervened in time, she might not have survived. You're welcome. Lin Yuyu smiled lightly from a distance. Girls help girls. Irene glanced at her for a moment and felt that the person's smile seemed familiar. I owe you a favor, and I'll remember it, Irene said sincerely before turning and joining her companions in the pursuit. Shouldn't we chase them? Song Ke asked with confusion. We can't catch up. It's clear that the opposite side has someone skilled at escaping. The 4 of us can't split up, can we? Among the 4 of them, only Song Ke and Su Cha could catch up to the mechanical team. If they both went to chase, the situation for Lin Yu and Xu Xing would become extremely dangerous. Indeed, in just a few seconds, the priority of those two coordinates had dropped to 5th place, and they were more than 10 kilometers away. Moreover, even if they could catch up, trying to snatch the crystals from the Annanites, while dealing with Feng Duona and Irene would likely lead to an endless and brutal battle. So, what should we do? Let's keep looking. There should be more selfish people like this. The number of crystals is decreasing, and we need to hurry. Flag coordinates refreshed, reporting the remaining flag coordinates. The current number of advancing teams, 41. This isn't good, there are fewer and fewer flags. Lin Yu glanced at the tracker, her eyebrows furrowing. It was 21:40, exactly 100 minutes since the start of the competition. Song Ke and her group had been searching for nearly half an hour, almost turning the entire restricted forest upside down. However, their luck had been extremely poor. The flags that refreshed later were either diagonally far away from them or on the opposite side of Mirror Lake, requiring a detour to reach. By the time they arrived, the flags had already moved for the second time, and as for the mutant zombies, they couldn't even catch a glimpse of them. This is impossible. Lin Yu lowered her gaze, puzzled. She wasn't usually this unlucky. Could it be that someone had incredibly bad luck and was single-handedly jinxing them? A bizarre speculation emerged in her mind, and Lin Yu couldn't help but look at Song Ke and Xu Xing ahead. These two had become distracted while walking, one teaching the other to curse and scold people. Xu Xing, sis, it can't separate. You have to say it together to have the impact. Song Ke, who do you think you are? Xu Xing cheerfully replied, right, it's like that. Lin Yu thought to herself, they really have big hearts. In a different livestream room, Ake switched to room 161-1 and happened to witness this scene. He chuckled and teased, V587, as one of the wild cards in this competition, although they are very strong, it seems luck isn't on their side. They've missed the flag several times already. Now that the competition is heating up, with 2/3 of the teams advancing, our player Song is still maintaining her composure. Will she be disappointed with this result, or will she manage to create some unexpected surprises? Audience, feel free to place your bets. The viewership in room 161-1 reached its peak as Song Ke single-handedly took down a mutant zombie water monster. It crossed the 200,000 mark, almost on par with other popular streamers like Irene and Feng Duona. However, a drone was damaged, causing a brief blackout, and in the half-hour she spent aimlessly wandering, she lost some viewers but stabilized at around 80,000. Lin Yu sighed, you too, are you still in the mood to play? Didn't you hear the recent announcement? There are less than 10 spots left for advancement. Just a moment ago, the system updated the current situation, revealing that 52 teams had successfully advanced, leaving them with limited opportunities. Song Ke and Xu Xing stopped their private conversation, standing up straight with a serious attitude. Shall we go and seize them? Song Ke proposed a plan. Currently, there were only 2 remaining coordinates for the moving flags, both quite far from them. If they couldn't find any mutant zombies soon, their only option was to go for the flags. A few meters away, Su Cha, who was scouting the area, suddenly spoke up, something is approaching. Song Ke's expression turned serious as she vigilantly surveyed her surroundings. Up ahead, there was a river with calm water, and a little further was the mountainside. The forest was peaceful, with no signs of anything unusual. Everything appeared normal, except, wait, the flow of the river seemed to be accelerating. Xu Xing stood by the riverbank, staring intently at the water's movements. Small bubbles surfaced one after another, churning and bubbling. He swallowed nervously. Could it be? Could it be another water monster? Xu Xing clenched his fists tightly, his ability, Ice Blade, ready to be unleashed. Splash! A grotesque-looking, blue-skinned mutant zombie suddenly leapt out of the river. At that moment, water mist filled the area, and the humid air forcefully deprived everyone of their breath. making it hard to breathe. This was a zombie with water-type abilities. Lin Yu reacted swiftly, taking a step back, while Su Cha and Song Ke, both close combat fighters, advanced to the front, slashing fiercely at the zombie. Clang! Song Ke's dual blades struck, but they met a soft water membrane, which immediately absorbed all their force, leaving the water-type mutant zombie unharmed. Su Cha's situation was similar. He had poisoned his dagger, but the water sprayed by the mutant zombie washed it all into the river. Use softness to overcome hardness and dissolve all things with water. Song Ke immediately transformed her blade into a three-edged spike and aimed for the mutant zombie's head, preparing to attack its weak point. Just then, the water in the river suddenly spun rapidly, forming several whirlpools of varying sizes. The zombie sensed danger, buried its head inside, and was smoothly swept away. It reappeared in another vortex, spraying a jet of water at them. Song Ke and Su Cha dodged to the side, avoiding the attack. This zombie was tricky. Not only did it possess challenging water abilities, but it was also extremely cunning. On the riverbank, Xu Xing had been staring blankly at the sudden appearance of the creature. After some thought, he raised his palm with a lack of confidence, and a blizzard poured forth. The water-type mutant zombie, which had been shuttling back and forth in the whirlpools, was frozen in place. Frozen, solidly frozen, from head to toe, every inch of skin, every sharp tooth, all frozen like ice. Song Ke, Su Cha, and Lin Yu. Xu Xing, 10 years old, competition number 161-2, Team V587, B-level Ice-type Awakener, the Chosen One, resolved a water-type mutant zombie with one move. Xu Xing realized he had unintentionally become the center of attention and scratched his head sheepishly, smiling shyly. Su Cha smashed the zombie's head expressionlessly, and ice shards and frozen brain matter scattered on the ground, revealing a crystal as clear as day from within. The atmosphere among the group became subtly tense the moment the crystal appeared. Song Ke instinctively looked at Lin Yu. Lin Yu calmly nodded. "You pick it up first, as we agreed." Song Ke replied and jogged over to pick it up. After rinsing it in the river water and cleaning it carefully, she gingerly placed it in his coat pocket. She also ruffled Xu Xing's head, giving him credit for this accomplishment. In room 161-2 of the live broadcast, although the audience wasn't numerous, their gender preference was quite evident, and their style was decidedly unique. "Ah, what a cute kid. I want to ruffle his hair. It's Xu Xing, right? So cute and obedient. Help me. I really want to be his mommy. Damn it. Nobody should even think of fooling me into having kids, except Xu Xing. He's still an awakener. Be careful, or he'll freeze you." The moment Song Ke picked up the crystal, Su Cha's body was covered in bulging veins. His eyes turned dark and menacing. He stood still for a few seconds, then silently returned to Lin Yu's side. He lowered his head and stared at her, puzzled. "There's no time. Why did you let them have it?" He didn't care about contracts or promises. He only knew that Lin Yu couldn't lose, and he didn't want her to lose. If possible, he would go and kill these two right now and snatch the crystal. Even if he wasn't a match for Song Ke, in a life or death struggle, there might still be a slim chance of winning. "Su Cha, don't act impulsively." Lin Yu sensed the burning anger in the man in front of her. She tiptoed, one hand pressing down on his tense shoulder, and the other slid down the back of his neck, as if taming a wild beast about to run amok. "Behave." After a while, Su Cha's raging murderous intent gradually subsided, and his tightly wound muscles slowly relaxed. He controlled his aura and reverted back to the silent shadow he usually was. The tracker beeped, and a new announcement was made. Flag coordinates refreshed. Reporting the remaining flag coordinates: 886, 543, 1079. The current number of advancing teams, 54. After the regular announcements, unexpectedly, there was a new one. Please note that the competition organizing committee is kindly reminding you that the number of flags remaining in the field is 1. All contestants, please do your best. Song K was momentarily stunned, and the joy of obtaining the crystal was dampened by a large margin. In such a short time, the 2 coordinates from earlier had disappeared, and the number of advancing teams had changed from 52 to 54. Now, there was only 1 flag left in the arena, and that was the crystal in her hand. Lin Yuyu's expression also grew somber. There were no extra flags left, which meant the crystal in Song K's hand was the only ticket to advance. She lowered her gaze, concealing all her emotions. For the vast majority of Awakeners, the throne race was an astonishing source of points, a never-ending stream of wealth, the satisfaction of power and ambition, and even a ladder to District B. However, for Lin Yuyu, none of these mattered. The sole purpose of Lin Yuyu's participation in the competition was to save her loved one's life. Even if this choice would stain her hands with blood, ruin her reputation, and make everyone despise her, she was resolute and unwavering. Su Cha, do you have confidence in killing them? Lin Yuyu used her ability to transmit her thoughts. I don't, Su Cha replied honestly. Understood. Then next, follow my orders. Let them be live targets for a while. Chapter 44. Bloody Ferrara, 16. Doomsday Spiritual Artifact Master Concentric Circles Betrayal Concentric Circles, the current number of teams advancing, 54 inches, the remaining flags in the arena. 1 inch out of 10 spots for advancement, only 1 flag remained. If the previous announcement had left a glimmer of hope in the teams within Mirror Lake, thinking they still had a chance to find a mutant zombie, seize the crystal, then the subsequent announcement directly pronounced their death sentence. There were no surviving mutant zombies left in Mirror Lake, and among the 100-plus teams in the arena, there was only one choice left: kill and seize the flag. The person holding the flag at this moment would undoubtedly become the target of everyone's arrows. Sister, are we in danger? Xu Xing held Song K's hand, his tone filled with worry. Song K didn't immediately respond but instead cast her gaze on the other 2. Being chased was secondary. What she cared about most now was what Lin Yuyu was thinking. The precondition for their 4-person cooperation was based on a sufficient number of crystals, but now that premise no longer existed. 2 teams would definitely be unable to advance. Faced with such a situation, was there still a possibility of continued cooperation? Would Lin Yuyu turn against them on the spot, just like everyone else, trying to kill her to seize the flag? Song K held the crystals in her pocket, her fingers releasing and tightening, unsure of what to say. Lin Yuyu remained silent for a while, noticing Song K's tense expression. She sighed softly, showing unexpected calmness. You're really unlucky. This is the last crystal. Well, now you're the center of attention. Quickly take it to the finish line. Song K didn't feel good about this. How do you advance? Lin Yuyu's lips curled into a faint smile, and her slender fingertips poked Song K's shoulder. Song K didn't dodge. Worried about me? Since the competition specifies 64 spots for advancement, there will always be another way for those remaining. Although she said so, the outlook wasn't optimistic. The original rules were already so cruel. If it dragged on to the end, she didn't know what awaited them. Don't worry, I keep my word. Oh my, judging by your expression, are you going to give the crystal to me? Even in such circumstances, Lin Yuyu still had the mood to tease her. Song K's fingertips touched the pearl necklace, her tone hesitant. Actually, before she could finish her sentence, she was abruptly interrupted. Leaves around them rustled, and a snake-like black shadow lunged toward them. The first wave of pursuers had arrived. Su Cha reacted extremely quickly, leaping into the woods. Muffled sounds came from the darkness, and the ambushing extraordinary individual was instantly eliminated. Run, Lin Yuyu urged aloud. The 4 of them sprinted towards the mountain summit, encountering a few more ambushes along the way, but luckily, they escaped unharmed. In no time, They reached the foot of the mountain, and a few more kilometers forward from here was the finish line for submitting the flag. Something's not right. The pursuers have decreased. The wind seemed to slow down here, and the surroundings were eerily quiet, with snowflakes falling gently. Crunch! Song Kei's ears caught the sound of dry leaves being crushed. She stopped in her tracks, alertly looking around, and in the next second, a large number of awakeners surged from all directions. They were surrounded, on the essential path leading to the finish line, where numerous bloodthirsty and desperate awakeners had already laid in ambush. Boom! A deafening cannon blast marked the beginning of the looting. The firepower was too intense, and Song Kei had to step back. On the periphery of her vision, a familiar Gatling particle cannon was set up, the Guns N' Roses. Rising extraordinary fire rings enclosed them, trapping the four of them inside, and the scorching flames nearly burned their skin. After Irene finished her cannon shot and saw the faces of several people within the encirclement, she was momentarily stunned. How could it be them? They had at least saved her once, and a hint of hesitation flashed in her eyes, slowing down her actions. In the official live broadcast room, all the cameras once again switched to the 161:1 drone. Facing the camera, Ake analyzed rationally, the situation for V-587 doesn't look great. On one side, there's a continuous onslaught of pursuers, and on the other, it's just a makeshift team put together temporarily, plus Team 121. Lin Yuyu and Su Cha didn't really stand out, and Ake searched through the corners of his memory for information. This team is called, named randomly, and in terms of combat capability, they seem quite casual. Su Cha from 121:1 disappears from the screen frequently, and the audience has a high complaint rate about him. As for Amy from 121:2, she hasn't shown any outstanding performance since the qualifiers and even earned the nickname, Fish Queen. I wonder how they plan to deal with this. As Ake finished speaking, a seismic change occurred in the arena. Even though the four surrounded individuals hadn't communicated in any way, their movements were oddly synchronized. Xu Xing took a step back, and a chaotic snowstorm began falling from the heavily clouded sky. The temperature plummeted, and those burning fire rings instantly extinguished, leaving behind only black char. Lin Yuyu's red lips twitched slightly, and without any visible movement, the four's speed suddenly doubled. Su Cha disappeared in place, concealed in the darkness. When he reappeared, he had already moved behind one of the besiegers. With a swift strike, a cold green light flashed by, and the opponent didn't even have time to utter a sound before meeting their demise on the spot. After a successful assassination, he once again concealed himself in the shadows, waiting for the right moment, like a reaper harvesting souls, seeking the next unfortunate victim. Song Kei wielded two knives like a nimble cheetah, charging directly into the encirclement. She was a one-woman army, and all sorts of awakened abilities crumbled into nothingness in the face of her absolute force. Those who confronted her head-on couldn't withstand 3 moves, and their awakened energy was shaken, sending them flying. The tightly sealed encirclement was torn open by her. Ho! Unexpectedly, a ragtag army can stage a comeback like this. This coordinated assault is quite impressive, Ake exclaimed. Luo Qing, rarely speaking, offered an objective assessment. Though outnumbered, if you didn't know in advance, you wouldn't be able to tell that this is a makeshift team. Long-range control, melee attacks, everyone's roles are clear, and their reactions are fast. Qing is right. In competitions, there are always surprises. Nevertheless, the situation is still not optimistic. We can see that another group of pursuers is heading this way. Song Kei had just opened a path for a breakout when, in the next moment, numerous awakeners surged from behind once again. Were they planning to use a strategy of overwhelming numbers to wear them down? With a flick of her fingertips, she hurled more than a dozen throwing knives with great force. Due to the short distance, the leading awakeners didn't even have time to dodge, they all fell lifeless. An opportunity. Song Kei's eyes lit up, and she was about to charge forward. A familiar, carefree voice suddenly sounded from behind the crowd. "Hey, guys, someone's trying to escape here. Anyone with control abilities, stop her!" Exclamation mark quote. Song K followed the voice and indeed saw the young man with ice blue eyes and silver-streaked hair again. She scolded him inwardly. "This guy is so annoying. He's like a troublemaker." A violent tornado swept in, blocking the hard-won escape route, forcing Song K to step back reluctantly. The man with ice blue eyes attacked at this moment. As he moved, a dense wall of binary code suddenly appeared in front of Song K. It made her dizzy. Why was this guy's ability so irritating? The man used the code as a path, and as he got closer to her, Song K suddenly found herself surrounded by a multitude of 101,010 codes. It left her feeling disoriented. How could this guy's ability be so vexing? The man used the code to pave the way and, as he approached her, he taunted and acted arrogant. "Nice weapons, can I take a look?" Song K retaliated with a backhand slash, shattering the code wall, and she attempted to strike the man's forehead with her throwing knives. The man promptly stepped back and used his ability to intercept them, stopping her attack. The throwing knives were left suspended in midair, trembling slightly. He carefully examined them for a moment, touching his chin while muttering to himself, "Not actual objects, but a manifestation of abilities. Quite interesting." Before he could finish speaking, the throwing knives broke through the code wall, turning into shooting stars aimed at his eyes. The man panicked and dodged, but his face was still cut, blood flowing. He shrugged nonchalantly and suddenly turned to the people behind him, inciting the awakeners who were surrounding them. "Hey, guys, this isn't the way to do it. First, let's figure out who has the flag before we take action." Everyone realized it made sense. Grabbing the one with the flag was the way to go. A chaotic tornado rose into the air, scattering the formation of Song K and her three companions. Xu Xing, being lightweight, was blown away about 10 meters before finally hanging from a tree branch. Lin Yuyu was also pushed back by the strong wind, looking quite disheveled. Their positions had slightly changed, and the ambushers quickly discerned who was truly holding the flag. "It's on the girl, kill her." In an instant, Song K found herself in a fierce battle. The pressure on Lin Yuyu and Xu Xing suddenly decreased. These people had completely disregarded them and were only focused on Song K. Hidden in the shadows, Su Cha suddenly received a secret message. "Su Cha, get ready to intervene. The crystal is in her pocket. After grabbing it, don't worry about anything else, just deliver it straight to the finish line." In the official live broadcast room, AK was completely engrossed, as if he wanted to become the king of haste, muttering to himself, "The situation doesn't look good. Will Player Song's two allies choose to support her or make a run for it? Oh, they're charging forward. True love exists among mortals after all. They're truly trustworthy. Wait, please, Xingfeng tilde I offer our sincere wishes, never-ending blessings for you tilde." A melodious song rang in Song K's ears. After just 2 lines of lyrics, she felt energized and fully revitalized. It was Lin Yuyu's ability, an enhancement buff. Su Cha also joined the fray. Song K gave up her position to him, and he circled around the frontline awakeners, passing by her. With a flash of a dagger in his hand, he cut through her pocket. Song K was stunned. She held her attack posture for 2 seconds. "Oh dear, Player Song's ally has turned on her." AK lamented. Su Cha successfully made his move, then quickly disappeared into the mountains, rushing towards the finish line. Song K stared angrily at Lin Yuyu, accusing her with her eyes. "You deceived me." Lin Yuyu averted her gaze and sighed softly in her ear. "I'm sorry, but I also said that winning is more important to me." Taking advantage of no one's attention, she also withdrew from the battlefield. Now, Song K was left in a state of full energy, but she was trapped in a dense encirclement. The others were still unaware of what had happened, and they continued to unleash their skills on her until the latest announcement rang out. Flag coordinates refreshed. Here are the coordinates of the remaining flags. 1108, 453, 339. Damn, the flag has been moved. These coordinates were already very close to the finish line. The awakeners who had surrounded her were in shock and immediately abandoned Song K, rushing toward the mountaintop. It was too late. Current number of advancing teams, 55. Please note, there are currently 0 flags remaining in the arena, and a new competition format will soon begin. Sister, Xu Xing had finally managed to jump down from the tree branch, and he received the announcement. His eyes blinked rapidly, and at first, he didn't understand what was happening. When he finally realized the key point, he became infuriated, jumping up and down in anger. This wicked woman, Lin Yu and Su Cha, had advanced. She had deceived them, and advanced by taking the only crystal from her own hands. Song K tightly gripped her twin knives, her joints cracking. Xiaoxing, let's go, to the finish line, Song K said softly. Huh? Xu Xing didn't understand. Was his sister so angry that she wanted to chase Lin Yu and Su Cha to the finish line? Without time to explain, Song K accelerated, taking Xu Xing to the mountaintop. There was a floating verification platform here, and ahead was an invisible barrier blocking their path. Please submit the flag, said an artificial intelligence in a mechanical tone from the window. Song K took a step forward, and a dazzling surge of electricity, tens of thousands of volts, suddenly emitted, as if warning anyone who dared to trespass. She looked back at the post-match resting area behind her, where figures abounded, but she couldn't see Lin Yu and Su Cha anywhere. Song K retracted her gaze and looked up at the artificial intelligence who had spoken. The flag is, as crystal, right? Yes, as long as it's a crystal, it counts for passing the level? Yes, the artificial intelligence paused for a moment and gave an affirmative response. Song K's hand moved slightly, and a green octagonal crystal, dripping with a lush hue and radiating brilliance, suddenly appeared in her palm. Does this one count? Chapter 45. Bloody Ferrara, 17. Doomsday Spiritual Artifact Master Concentric Circles. Did someone bully you? Concentric circles, you. Surprising. Tonight's match is full of surprises indeed. Player Song has once again revealed a flag. Ake was extremely excited, grabbing the microphone and shouting hoarsely, when did she hide it? And, dear audience, this is a flag that didn't appear in the system announcement. The barrage was filled with question marks. Am I seeing things? A green crystal, is it real? It must be fake. There was no hint in the announcement. Why would she show it if it's fake? Does she think we're all fools? In the post-match lounge, the holographic projection was broadcasting the match inside the arena. As they saw Song K take out the green crystal, some of the well-informed extraordinary individuals were in shock and disbelief. They stood up, their eyes fixed on the screen. Mr. Shang remained calm, leisurely sipping his tea, and said, I didn't expect to see a level 2 crystal here. This old man's horizons have widened. Crystals had gradually become a strategic resource that gained popularity after the apocalypse. Awakeners had varying channels and timeliness for obtaining information about them. Some were completely unaware, while others considered themselves clever for obtaining first-hand information early, like Mr. Shang. The Alliance officially announced 4 levels of crystals. Level 1 white crystals, Level 2 green crystals, Level 3 blue crystals, and Level 4 red crystals. It was said that the deeper the color, the purer the quality, and the higher the success rate for awakening and evolution. As things stood, Level 1 crystals were already rare, and Level 2 crystals had appeared only a few times in District B. After all, the probability of mutant zombie encounters was extremely low, and the stronger the mutant zombie, the more challenging it was to hunt. Mr. Zhang's eagle-like eyes were fixed on Song K in the holographic projection. Despite his age, he was not senile, and he had recognized the little girl as the arrogant thief who had stolen their A-level mission in Luli Port. HMPH, she was lucky last time. Not only did she get away with it, but she also escaped from a tight encirclement, causing them to work in vain. Zhang Lei was nothing more than an ordinary D-level zombie, so he couldn't have produced a level 2 crystal. Since the other party dared to reveal it, it must have been obtained within the arena. It seemed that there was a lot of information worth digging into about this Song Ke. Mr. Shang instructed his subordinate, find out who she is, and also, get a copy of her entire match recording as soon as possible. On the other side, Duan Muqi was also watching Song Ke with a deep gaze. The wound the opponent had inflicted last time still throbbed when touched, and this person would be the opponent he needed to pay the most attention to. Mr. Shang noticed his distraction and teased, young Duan, it seems you care a lot about this player. Duan Muqi smiled disdainfully, Mr. Shang, you don't need to test me. I'll say it again, no matter who the opponent is, the winner will only be me. At the gathering place of the Anna Knights, Mecha Head, Siang, tossed 2 crystals up and down, and suddenly exclaimed, huh, the green crystal is actually prettier than the white one. My 2 crystals don't seem so appealing now. Siang's mechanical head leaned forward, closely watching Song Ke's crystal in her hand, his gaze greedy and menacing. At the verification platform, the AI scanned the crystal provided by Song Ke and stated in a flat, emotionless tone, I'm sorry, verification failed. Only crystals produced within Mirror Lake can be submitted as flags. Song Ke stubbornly explained, it's from Mirror Lake, I swear. The barrage was filled with skeptical comments. Such a scammer, is she lying with her eyes open? I've been watching the livestream in room 161-1 since the lock you up battle. I didn't see her get a green crystal. She's audacious and not very bright. Daring to tell such a lie, doesn't she know the entire match is being recorded? There were a few faint voices defending Song Ke. Maybe you just missed it. This player is very talented. A few sporadic fair comments were quickly drowned out by various insults. So many of us didn't see it, does that mean I'm blind? Did everyone collectively go blind? Do you think AI directors are fools? With such a large crystal dropping, wouldn't they cut to that scene? She's just a scammer. Why are people defending her? Outside the screen, old Zhang, who was typing furiously, was furious. He had bet his entire fortune on Song Ke's victory. No, he couldn't accept elimination like this. Old Zhang rolled up his sleeves, got energized as if he had taken some kind of stimulant, and engaged in a heated debate with those who criticized Song Ke. In the official live broadcast room, AK, with great passion, stirred up the atmosphere. Player Song still insists that she obtained this crystal from Mirror Lake. So, where did this unique green flag really come from? Qing, what do you think? Lu Qing cooperated very well, lowered his eyes in thought for a moment, and then with slightly parted lips, he gave his answer, water monster. Almost at the same time, Song Ke, who was confronting the AI, said exactly the same words, water monster, produced the crystal. As expected of Qing, he guessed it right away. Let's take a look at the replay. AK raised his left hand, and the backstage director immediately played the video of Song Ke single-handedly defeating the Mirror Lake water monster. From the footage at the time, it is indeed a mutant water monster. Everyone, look here, pause. The water monster released rain arrow attacks, and only mutants can achieve such an attack. The video paused, and the water monster's flat head faced Song Ke, its ferocity far exceeding that of ordinary mutant zombies. Countless fine rain arrows struck the enormous spiritual weapon umbrella, creating a dazzling white light. After player Song saved player Shu, she stayed inside the water monster for a while. The exact time is 2 minutes and 48 seconds. Could it be that she accidentally discovered the crystal at this moment? Okay, I've received a message from the backstage. Staff members are currently conducting an energy test on the water monster's corpse. Any place where a crystal is produced will undoubtedly leave behind strong radiation. The answer will be revealed soon. At the verification platform, the old-fashioned AI's eyes lit up with a line of code, as if receiving some kind of instruction. Congratulations, you have successfully advanced. Meanwhile, Ake's enthusiastic voice echoed through the terminals of all the viewers. The green crystal has been confirmed to come from the Mirror Lake water monster. Congratulations to player Song, congratulations to player Shu, congratulations to V587 for becoming the dark horse of this match and successfully advancing to the top 64. The particle electric barrier slowly opened, and Song K and Shu Xing walked into the rest area, exhausted. Under the curious, scrutinizing, and questioning gazes of many, she walked calmly with her back straight. When she passed by Lin Yuyu and Su Cha, Lin Yuyu seemed to want to call out to her, but before she could, Song K had already walked far away. Current number of advancing teams, 56. Remaining flags in the field, 0. New format initiated. Ake received a prompt from the earpiece and nodded. His expression became serious as he announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, we will now start the endless slaughter mode. Let me briefly explain the rules. Only 8 teams that survive will advance, and the rest will be eliminated." The Awakeners left in the field also received the same announcement. Endless slaughter mode, with over 100 teams and more than 300 participants, competing for 8 spots, and counting based on the final survivors. This also meant that those who failed wouldn't be able to leave Mirror Lake at all. The real battle royale had begun. The teams that had already advanced patted their chests in relief. Thank goodness we grabbed the flag. Otherwise, it would have been really frustrating. In the arena, Irene plucked a strand of hair in frustration. At this point, they had no choice but to fight to the death. "Sisters, we live and die together, never betray, charge out with me." In another corner, the man with ice blue eyes murmured, "Oh, I accidentally made it too big." Endless slaughter began, and all the Awakeners, as if mad, started hacking at those around them, who had just been fighting alongside them. Those bloodshot madmen who had just killed their enemies 1 second ago now lay on the ground, killed by someone else in the blink of an eye. Screams, wails, agonizing moans. This was a bloody purgatory, the most brutal arena. Even the air was filled with a heavy smell of blood. Irene blasted away an approaching Awakener, and suddenly heard a painful cry behind her. She turned around in horror and saw her companion lying in a pool of blood. Irene bit her lip, tears streaming down her face, and shouted, "Hold on, get closer to me, we can survive together." Outside the arena, the viewership ratings for the throne race soared once again. Blood and brutality were the hormones that stimulated the Ferrara people the most. The betting pool kept refreshing, and countless fortunes flowed like a river to the backstage authorities. The bloody massacre lasted for a full half hour, and finally, 8 teams fought bloody battles and crawled out of hell. Guns N' Roses lost 2 members. White Radish Carrot lost 3 members. Black Jack lost 4 members, and only the man with ice blue eyes survived. The remaining teams were completely wiped out. The top 64 for the throne race had been determined. As described in its promotional advertisements, it was born after stepping over the fiery trials and thorns, treading on the blood and lives of countless people. After the Mirror Lake competition, Song K and Shu Xing left through the players' passage in silence. Midway, Shu Xing stole several glances at Song K, wanting to say something comforting but not knowing where to start. Blame that wicked woman. His sister seemed very unhappy. After leaving the restricted area and walking a distance, Song K suddenly stopped. On the main road ahead, under the dim streetlights, a very familiar silver-white wheelchair was parked there. A handsome man leaned lazily on it, supporting his chin with one hand, casually watching the dry leaves dancing in the wind. Hearing the noise, the man seemed to have sensed it long ago and raised his gaze, smiling suddenly. "What's wrong? Why is your face so puffed up? Did someone bully you?"